Hello everybody, Carol Garrison here with Carol's Creative Escape. It is time for another Make It Monday and fix Carol's hair, it looks like. All right, yes, time for another Make It Monday. Today is Monday, February 17th, and I am very excited to share with you a card I'm calling Fruit Salad Triple Panel. And it actually is just because of the paper that I'm using that I'm calling it that. Scrolling through, one of the things that I promised to myself I was going to do when I stopped being a demonstrator was to start using my stash. And so today I do have a card made from some paper I've had in my stash for a very, very long time. And then one with some paper that's still available in Stampin' Up's annual catalog, as well as the, what's it called? It is called Fruit Salad, hence the Fruit Salad Triple Panel card. That is part of an item that you can get through Celebration right now with Stampin' Up. I'm not totally up on dates because, again, I'm not a demonstrator with Stampin' Up anymore, but I still use their products. I still like their products, and this happens to be one that I had in my stash to use up. Hope everybody had a great week. You know, ours has been mostly dealing with weather, different types of weather. We had snow again, I can't remember, Saturday, I think, last week. So we got to spend some time shoveling out driveways and that sort of thing. Now it must have been Sunday we had snow because we had the grandkids again on Saturday. Had a fun time with them, spent the afternoon with them. More snow, more shoveling, that type of thing to do over the weekend. And then today it was 30 something below zero with our, we're not supposed to say wind chill factor anymore, but the feels like temp was about 30 below, and yay, tomorrow it should be about 40 below zero. So it should be a good time. The good news is that usually when it's that cold, we aren't going to get snow. So the roads will be dry. It'll be good driving as long as your car will start. So mine is currently plugged in outside my garage in the hopes that that'll be enough. It should. I've got a brand new car battery, cold cranking and all of that. So we're going to keep our fingers crossed. But then by Saturday, I heard we're going to be up to 36 degrees. So that's going to be, you know, like a 76 degree temperature range. We'll see what happens. Oh, well. Again, I hope everybody had a great week. I am now going to start flipping my phone over here so that we can get started with this card. I think this card is an easy card to make, so I'm excited to share that. I know last week's card using that shaving cream got just a little bit dirty, messy, if that's not something you like. Oh, look, you can still see my lovely ceiling while I'm talking here. Let me flip that around. There we go. Whoops. Hopefully there's no cobwebs up there for you to see, huh? Isn't that what usually happens? Now I get to spend just a few minutes, as usual, trying to straighten out my workstation, and I think I'm going to leave it just like that. That's pretty darn good. One just never knows what's going to happen. That's the beauty of going live. All right, I want to add just a little bit more light here and grab a quick sip of water. So the card that I want to share with you is, you can see where I get the triple panel. I found this layout on Pinterest, but it was all in metrics and the card dimensions are bigger than what I had, so I had to kind of tweak and play with it a little bit. I thought this made a slightly different Easter card. That's an old retired stamp set, hippity hoppity. That cute little bunny in the storybook stamp set goes kind of nicely with this paper. And then I just left the inside pretty plain. So that's one version of this card. This next card is not Stampin' Up paper, just so that you don't get confused about that. It is some that I've had in my stash. It's nautical themed, and I do have a great deal of nautical paper in my stash. I did not do as much to decorate the front of this card. I did post this up onto dimensionals, so it is up a little higher than it is on this one. On this, just the bunny is on dimensionals. But I didn't add a whole lot more to this card. So I wanted that part to stand out. I figured there was just a lot of light. Here I used an embossing folder to create a pattern. Here I used designer series paper to create my background. I think both work. If you want to go quick and easy, this is just cutting and stamping. This one a little bit more die cutting and running through the embossing folder. But both work and both are simple cards to make. Now let me give you measurements. And again, I'm using the fruit salad paper. And my daughter was lovely enough to share with me. Any of you that have kids or childcare might recognize it. The song Fruit Salad by the Wiggles. Put it on, ask Alexa to play it for you or something like that. And that one will stick in your head now the rest of tonight. Yep, fruit salad. All right, 5.5 by 8.5, score at 4 1/4. And then I have just a piece of basic white for the inside of my card, 4 by 5 1/4. I've got a piece of that designer series paper, the fruit salad side. We're going to use the back side, and this measures 4 by 5 1/4 as well. And then I apologize if you're not a fan of using 1/8 inch measurements, but they're going to be in this card tonight. 3 1/8 by 3 1/8. And then I've got 3 strips of this paper, and each of these strips measures 7/8 by 2 7/8. I really tried to work in inches and stuff, but when it came down to spacing and get everything to fit right, I had to go to the eighths. And then I've taken one more piece of that designer series paper just to add a little bit more color to this card. And this piece measures 1 1/4 by 5 1/4. And then I've got a piece of white ribbon that I'll be using to decorate with a little bit. And I found a pre-die cut scrap of paper in my stash. So I'm going to go ahead and use that along with a happy birthday stamp. This is from the Simply Said stamp set from Stampin' Up. And I think we're ready to start assembling. So I like to kind of do my folding and burnishing to make sure all is well there. And I'm going to go ahead and put the inside of my card, and I'll adhere it with adhesive. You know, I know a lot of people say, oh, how can you live with that cold? Well, you know what? If you bundle up, you can be out for a little bit. This actually is even too cold for that. We cannot walk our dog in this kind of weather. In fact, his feet, even when he goes out to take care of business, he can't stay out very long because his feet get super, super cold, and then he stops walking on them. So we have to watch that. And then he reacts to the salt that gets used on the road. So when we do take him for walks, he's got to wear his little winter boots so his feet don't get irritated. The things we do. And then the other thing that we do is just dress appropriately for the weather, and it's not that bad. I do know that some of the schools, though, in our area are closing tomorrow just because the temps are going to be so dangerously low. So we'll see how many more follow suit, because it was 2 of the big districts in the metro area that made that decision, and they sometimes will drive other districts to do that as well. All right. So I am just putting my ribbon around this piece of paper to tone it down just a teeny bit. And then I am going to run adhesive. I'm actually going to put some right on top of the ribbon, and then along the edge. I'm putting more on than I normally would because I want that ribbon to stick along with this paper. And then I'm just going to put this down. Oh, you know, I'm going to do this layout just a little bit different, because why not? So I'm going to put this right in the center here. And then, before I go any further, I am going to stamp my sentiment onto this piece of paper. Because I am using photopolymer stamps, I do want to make sure I've got some cushion underneath. So I've got a piercing mat here. And let me grab my ink pad. and my stamp, and I'm just going to put it here and hope I've got it centered pretty well. Not bad. I'm going to take it. And I am going to wipe off my stamp just so I don't set anything in it that could get ruined by it. All right, we're going to set that aside. And then we'll come back and we'll assemble this. Now, because I cut my paper side by side, as opposed from a long strip, I am going to make sure I've got them lined up a little bit. I am going to put adhesive on the back and try to get my corners. And whoops, this first piece I'm going to put, now normally I'd tell you to look at diagonal corners. Well, I can't do that with this, so you know, just watch these two corners, make sure they're pretty even. And then instead of doing this middle piece first, I'm going to actually do the other outside piece. And the reason I'm doing that, I will show you in just a minute. So again, I'm just going to look to make sure I've got it lined up pretty evenly. And now when I go to put this piece in, I've got some grace in how it gets laid down and spacing, and if I'm not quite even on these two edges, I can make up for it doing that piece in the middle. I know there's some people that will start with the middle and work their way out. I find I get more lopsided when I do that, so I prefer to do edges and then the middle. Try both ways, figure out what works best for you. This is kind of a bright, cheery little spring card. And now, because I'm not going to get it to lay flat, you can kind of see if I just did adhesive that these sides would be rounded down and it would bulge in the middle. I am going to go ahead and put this on dimensionals. I don't think it's going to make it too thick for mailing still, but that may be something that you want to double check. I'm for sure putting them on the corners, and then I know that ribbon is going to run through the center here, so I'm just going to put these off center so it doesn't interfere with the ribbon, but will hold the center up on the card as well. I like putting some of these in the middle of the card, the layer, when it's a little bit bigger. It just keeps it kind of from sagging, I guess. I've been having lots of fun. I did a little bit of cleaning in my area, but having lots of fun finding some of the forgotten treasures that I have. So I really would encourage, oh, look what I did. Does anybody see this? The strawberries, they're upside down. Oh dear, we can't have that. I'm going to add a little more adhesive because the stick is kind of worn off since I had to peel this off. Now the strawberries will be going the right direction. Ugh, I didn't even notice that the first time I put it down. All right, now I am going to put this in the middle. We're kind of doing everything in the middle. Same pieces as these two cards. I'm just not putting it offset to the side. I'm putting everything in the middle, including this strip here. That's the fun thing about making cards, is you can decide how you want to lay yours out. Sometimes you just get really good ideas and you can follow through on them. And sometimes you change them up a little bit. So here is my card. Now I do want to check my... Oh, I'm sorry, Loki. I just slammed the dog in the head. I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm trying to see what I've got in the way of bling that I can use to decorate this. That might work, but let's see if I've got more. got? Some rhinestones. And a couple more boxes of gems. Maybe there's something in there. I also have a whole bin that's got retired bling in it, so I might have to dig into that and use some of that stash up too. What do you think? Yeah, it could be the bananas. Well, I'm not seeing what I'm looking for, so let me pull out my retired bin of stuff. I feel like I've got something that's just going to be perfect when I see it. I just don't know what it is yet. Do you ever kind of get those ideas in your head and then have to work your way through it? All right, I found something. I don't even know what these are called because all I've got is that sheet of paper, but it's the right colors. And a little bit of sparkle, which I'm not going to mind either. So we'll pull off. I should use my take your pick tool instead of my non-existent fingernails. All right, and then of course we got to use at least one of the, wow, these are really stuck onto here. One of the lime green, and I think I'll use a little one of the kind of pool party blue. And there we go. That's just what I needed to finish that off. I didn't know what I was looking for when I started it, but like I said, I found a great option, and so we went with it. So that's how quick and easy this card is to make, and look at all the different appearances that you can get out of it, just depending on the paper that you use. Masculine type card, seafaring sort of a card. We've got a little Easter card, and then here I've got a fun little happy birthday card. So again, let me repeat measurements just so that you've got those in case this is something you want to duplicate. The basic card base is 5.5 by 8.5 inches. This layer and the inside layer is 4 by 5.25. Again, you can use cardstock or designer series paper, whichever you want. If I'm using cardstock on that biggest space, I am going to run it through an embossing folder. So sometimes if you're in a hurry, designer series paper might be a quicker option for you, but totally up to you. This square is 3 1/8 by 3 1/8. And then the strips of designer series paper measure 7/8 by 2 7/8, and you need, of course, 3 of those. And then this piece I did 1 1/4 by 5 1/4. This one is actually 1 1/2 on here, if I'm not mistaken. Nope, that's 1 1/4 as well. And then you can decorate the front as much or as little as you want. And then make sure you put some paper in there so that you can, I like to put, just so that you know, an inside layer in here. It adds a little more stability to the card. And then depending on your color of paper, it can also make for an easier writing surface. But it is okay, like I've done here. I just did tone on tone, but added that layer so I'd have the thickness and support in the card. This one I did, this tone, I just carried it through on the inside. And then this one I did basic white. Totally up to you again on how you do that part too. So here is my fruit salad triple panel card. I hope you have a fun time making this card. If you do make this card, feel free to post it in the comments down below. I love to see what other people make, and I think that the best thing we can do to share and encourage others is to, you know, share what we've made, inspire others. Sometimes that's all the incentive that people need. Take care, everybody. Have a great week, and we will see you next Monday. February 24th for another Make It Monday. Bye.